I invite you to go to this website now with your device, computer or smartphone. So web.speakup.info. That's a polling system that we use at EPFL, at UNIL, in Neuchâtel, a number of universities in Switzerland. It was locally developed here. Go to room number, this number here. Please open only one window. There is no authentication, and we trust you. So this is for people in the room as well as for people on Zoom. If you have only one window, you can vote as many times as you want, in the sense that when I close the poll, only your last choice will be taken into account. The tool is limited, and you need to have the letter that corresponds to your preferred candidate. So if you vote for Esan, who was the chair of local organization, then put G. And we did not discuss in the TPC what are the rules for the election, because that's a whole topic of its own. We may have one round majority, or I don't know. So what was the rules in the past? For the number one in number of votes, right? Yeah. So single rounds, yeah. I use this polling system in class, and when I use it, sometimes if I'm the goal, I put a question and I ask a little quiz, A, B, C, D, and most of the time the answer is right, so which is good feedback. Sometimes it is not. Then what I do when it is not, I ask people to vote again, and most of the time it gets better, which is very encouraging. And I will take the liberty to do that if I see that there is no peak in the distribution. That was my warning. Okay, I have received 23 votes, which is the number of people in the room, but are the people online also? There are two online, yeah. And I have a tie. What do we do if we have a tie? Two prizes. Two prizes. Yeah, I have 12 certificates. Okay, so if anybody wants to change their votes, that may break the tie. So in 5 seconds, I am closing the poll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. So you should see on the screen that the winners are B and D, Hossein and Raffaele. So congratulations. I will give you a nice certificate. Where is Raffaele? Yeah, there should be. Some money from Huawei. There is some money, yes. So for Raffaele and Hossein, you should, yeah. So please come to me. So there is a little monetary award given by Huawei. Voila, so that was the first step. Before we conclude, and to make sure I will have enough time, I want to really thank all the people who have been working hard in the past weeks to organize this. Angela, who is not here in the room now, but has done a lot of the hard work of the administration, whom you met yesterday on the boat, and also at the registration desk. Esan, who has been doing most of the work among all the scientific team here. So Esan, congratulations. That was really seamless. The only bug we had is the absence of a second microphone in the room, but to our discharge, It was physically impossible to obtain a small room with that two microphones. But next edition will do better. And also, I want to thank all the various chairs of publicity, Zoom Master, Webmaster, and organizers of miscellaneous items. So all the team who has contributed to make this as nice as it was. And now, on the TPC, we had suggested some topics for discussing before where we leave for lunch. And one of the topics was what do we do with network calculus as a community in terms of publications? That was one of the topics that was raised. When you have your nice network calculus paper on, I don't know, shapers, traffic contract, TSN, duplicate removal algorithms, etc. There always comes the question, where do I publish? So we have the real-time conferences, we have the networking conferences. Now, if you have a stochastic network calculus, there's also another variety. And that's one of the questions. Some of us, if I get it well, were a bit embarrassed, I would say, by this absence of a well-defined stream of conference or journal to send papers to. Not all of us, I mean, others did not always say that this was a problem. Like some journals, like IEEE Transactional Networking, seem to be now accepting network calculus as a topic, which was not the case perhaps 15 years ago. So that's one topic. Another topic I would like to throw on the table is should network calculus not be used as a tool by those who are not doing network calculus? Right? I'm thinking in particular of the TSN community. We have been working a lot, Ehsan and I, at IETF, so we've been meeting a lot with the people of IETF. We noticed that many of them have zero knowledge of the basics of network calculus, and still they are standardizing deterministic networking. We see the same thing in the real-time community. There are efforts that have been done. There was a recent Dutch tool seminar jointly with the network calculus people and the real-time community. That's one of the questions. Should not this be taught as part of one chapter instead of one book, one chapter in a computer networking course or in a real-time system course? And what should we teach in such short things? Perhaps that's also another question. Now I would like to call other questions or remarks to that. Given our already mentioned microphone problem, I will move and give the microphone to whoever wants to speak. Any reaction to any of those two topics or another third topic? Jörg is moving his lips.
Well, I can say my view. I can give my view. So with publications on the first questions, my experience has been that sometimes submissions to conferences have been quite disappointing in the last 20 years. So there was very good papers submitted to strong conferences being rejected with kind of disappointing reviews. And these papers then, I mean, also not directly, but I mean, usually with the revision, always getting into good journals. So I know that conferences are kind of more short timeline, but I think there are just too few people who can read papers with that topic. And in journals, it's even if people are not experts, they at least spend the time. And so they have a positive experience with that. That was my opinion on that. Okay. I can give my opinion on the kind of broader knowledge. So I think it should be taught as part of networking. It's there. It's a system theory. Networking has a system theory, and that's the network calculus. And understanding that helps people understand networking better. And this in communications, wireless or signal processing or control theory, they also have a systems theory, and you could not take it out. Yeah, so it's just here's the problem, how to get it in. So I've been teaching an undergraduate, essentially network calculus course since 17 years since I came to. They let me do it in Toronto, and I've been doing it. So I think if you don't tell people that it's hard, they can do it. Yeah, just people always believe it's so hard. Yeah, so and it's not. You just have to. I mean, it's sometimes it gets lost in complicated notation, but that can all be presented from practical examples. So I think it's possible, but it's certainly unsuccessful. Yeah, I had expected that it would just become more mainstream to think this way, but people still don't. Just as a fact. But it would still make sense in my view.
So I would partly, I would actually mostly agree with that. I think especially that the different notations that all of us are using, I feel like we limit ourselves massively with this because we confuse people since we all use individual notation. Yeah, so it's just a small comment. There was someone else over there? No? Here. Oh,
yeah, well, so I have the token now. I just have one quick comment on the second point. So I also started teaching network calculus as a graduate course, and I think what would be very helpful and complementary is to have it as one lecture in an introduction to communication networking lecture. So this is something that I'm starting to do this year with an experiment with 300 students first semester, and let's see. So basically, yeah, introduction to computer communication networks or computer networks is very soft. So I use the Kurosu book, right? And there is, if you look at the mathematical formulations, they are very high level, and there is no proofs. And I think, however, that what we should do is exactly put it in there. And the question is how, what is enough to give a comprehensive understanding, which is on a level that would spark interest later on in the graduate course. That's my opinion. Token for anyone?
Just small comments I would like also to add. As I'm relatively new in this kind of community here, I would like just to tell that if it would be also better to have more videos on YouTube about network calculus, because for people who just started learning or just put a step on this world, network calculus world, for them it will be easier to have an access on videos and teaching videos on YouTube. I found the videos from my colleague Lisa Mailer on some few videos, and that's first my point. And second point, I think there is should be a one common website, network calculus community website, where we can all have an access, and for like when we raise the topic different notations, also we can have in this website all notations which we use it in all our papers, so that one can easily get an access into this, and having a clear introduction about network calculus itself, and where we can also upload our lecture videos on this website to have some common and easy access to everyone who just started as me in this world. This small addition. Thank you.
Thank you. So I see that we have already some educational resources. We have Jörg's lecture. We have Amre's starting a new lecture. So perhaps yeah, we have also Lisa's videos. So yes, it's a good idea to have a repo for all those course material. Perhaps we could start with the Wikipedia page of network calculus, which serves this purpose for the tools. For example, as far as I know, all the tools on network calculus are listed there. It might be a good starting point, perhaps, to add pointers to another page that would have educational material on network calculus. Perhaps it's easier to let it on Wikipedia because you put it on the university, then the lab closes, then the people move, and this website goes away. But on Wikipedia, it would hopefully stay. So let's try that. Yeah. Good. Any other? Yeah. Pardon me?
You have to give your opinion.
My opinion.
Yes.
On the first topic on publication, yes, I agree that with conferences, it's hard, in particular computer science conferences that tend to be extremely selective, based sometimes on bad arguments, like exactly if you don't have one or two TPC members who know network calculus, you're certain you're rejected from that conference. So and there are very few, this community is small. So that's true. That's a real problem. In journals, my experience was never negative. So in journals, yeah, sometimes you have bad luck and they pick an editor who doesn't understand anything. But in my experience, it was rare. And when people don't understand, they make an effort. Then perhaps you, in the revision, you can explain, give enough tutorial, and it always worked for me at least, and for some people I talked to. So but it's part of us being a very small community. And I think I fully agree with Amrit. I think we should have a few hours course that teaches you everything you need to know in a scientific way, not just a supervisory manner. Everything you need to know. So of course we cannot teach the entire network calculus books that exist that have all topics and so on. And so what is the minimal subset we need to know today? I would say some of it was presented in some of the presentations that we see today. I think we need to do single node analysis, arrival curve, service curve. What is a service curve? What are the simple examples of service curves? And compute and TFA, and for example, knowing that there are better things than TFA, but perhaps they cannot be taught in an elementary course. I think this could be taught, and already it doesn't require. I'm not sure this is. And you seem to think that there would be another subset.
Maybe you should join Huawei, because we're just recording a few hours of lectures about network calculus, but it's internal to Huawei. So.
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Huawei, can you please make them available to the community? But perhaps it's. If it's on network calculus, not on the specific Huawei algorithm, perhaps it's feasible to make it available to everyone. Jörg, and then and then
So I mean, I think if one has just a very short introduction to network calculus, I would recommend to not focus on the bounds, but just focus on the systems, the system theoretical aspect, the composition, kind of the shaping, the ability to describe shaping exactly, having a focus on that, because there is this concept of bounds and how good are the bounds, and you get into that argument, and that's just it's just no way out. Yeah, people just object to bounds that, yeah, analytical bounds where you don't know the difference between the exact results. You say you can't get the exact results. That's why we have bounds. That's not.
We pass the token to Mark, who will return it to Anne.
Just to go back to the publication, yes, I think that now journals are quite okay. Conferences, so I will not speak, so anti-NS, of course, but also there is, I will say, ECRTS, which is ranked, okay, and which is quite open to network calculus. Okay, so you may have a try. I cannot promise anything, but that's I was there 3 times now, and there is a point of view that is something that we don't understand anything, but it's interesting. So it's no, but that the more network calculus papers there are in a conference, the more the community understands. Okay, and if you have other ideas, we can discuss, but it could be an entry point.
One sec, I have the token. I just want to add one thing, an idea that I just got listening to you, Jörg, that actually we could introduce, or parts introduce network calculus whenever we are introducing algorithms, especially about shaping and bandwidth sharing and so on. So in a data structures and algorithms lecture, where you talk about constructing an algorithm that shares a link, you could also use, okay, this is an example of how to model it, and we'll just continue with whatever we're doing. So it doesn't have to be bound, what I'm trying to say, Tess, doesn't have to be bound to a networking lecture, right?
So I think we have the right idea, but I mean, we need the tool to do it. And I think the way to get to mainstream, basically, most of the people who teach networking, they teach it from textbooks, like, you know, by Koros or Ross, the other books that are really widely spread that everybody teaches. So if we convince these people to put a chapter in the new edition, just an introduction, that would be great. But then you need connection to these people. Yeah, and for the publication, I had a good experience with Infocom. I don't know, but I mean, because it's stochastic network calculus, and we always connect that to some application, especially wireless. So it gets accepted. So it's not like network calculus per se, but it's an application of network calculus to something else. So yeah, these are my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so perhaps we should speak to Jim Kuros. That would be the next thing to see. Yeah, we draft the chapter and we let him sign. That's an option. Good. Are there any other questions or inputs or remarks or great things we should do? No, then I would like to close this session. And no, Ehsan?
I just want to say that for the next version of Wonica, do we decide now anything? Well, it has been like the event was every 2 years. Last version we could not make it because of COVID. It was remote, so I think that it could be an idea to talk about the next version. I heard, so there is a call for Dutch now. We have a discussion. Okay. Yeah. So the Dachstuhl is this. Many of you have been at Dachstuhl, and there was a good net calculus related workshops earlier, and having it there would be a good place. I don't know if it works with an open call because it goes with long-term invitation, but I mean the community is really very small. So if you invite people or having it
small enough for Dachstuhl, yes.
for Dachstuhl, you can invite, you know who they are, you know. So that would be one, and that could be, we have discussed it, but I think Marcus would be the lead, or you guys would be the lead. Stefan, okay. Yeah, because I'm not in that system. Thank you. Yeah, Marcus
started motivating people, and he recruited me as his right hand. So we're on it, and we are already addressed on. So let me announce then that we are working towards it. The deadline is end of October, and it's a special call because they have the 3-day slots left probably, and it's like 9 to 14 months from the application deadline on. So we will be working on that, and you will probably all receive emails about that. So we're trying to make that happen. This suggestion is really good, already picked up. Yeah, I said 3 days, and then from October, when the deadline for application is, we cannot choose a date. We can block out dates and so on, but then in the end, Dachstuhl chooses in this time frame 9 months to 14 months after application. So that is the uncertainty in there regarding scheduling.
Thank you. So we're coming to the end. I just wanted to mention also that the recordings of all the sessions will be available on the website. You have signed that you agree. When you click the box on the registration. Voilà. Thank you very much. So there is one. No. Then the last event is lunch. After lunch, for those of you who simply want an office to work around or to meet, we will go to INF 018. And from the website, you can follow us, or you have also the link on the website of where this is. This is our office labs. Thank you.